Hey, Leo. Thank you for joining me for your July reading. Very excited to see what is in your cards. But before we get into your cards, we got to talk about your stars, or more specifically, your moon. So everybody experienced on July 5th a lunar eclipse in the sign of Capricorn. And lunar eclipses are like full moons on steroids. Full moons are considered to be the time when things come to either a culmination or a crisis. And my favorite analogy for the full moon is boiling water. If you're watching what you're boiling, you could be cooking up something really delicious and it could be like, ready to go. Or if you're not watching your pot of boiling water, it can bubble over and make a big old mess of whatever it is, you were working on. So for you, Leo, this lunar eclipse happened in your house of work, health, and routine. So you may have had a big revelation around, wow, I really need to switch up my routine. It is not working for me. Maybe you don't even have a routine and you've realized I really need to set up some parameters in my life to make sure that I get everything done that I want to get done. Now, this is also the house of health. So your routine that you might be thinking about and working on specifically could be around fitness or nutrition. Like, I have got to get this plan going if I'm going to be optimum, if I'm going to be at my best. And for some of you, it may literally be, this job ain't it. And with a lunar eclipse, it could even be that the job told you, this ain't it. And that you feel forced into, I need to start looking into something else. I need to start looking into, essentially, this is the house of the everyday. Like, what am I doing with my time? And is it serving me? Habits and routines are like the steps we build that become the staircase that takes us to the big, sexy, lofty goal, right? This lunar eclipse is asking you to commit to the process more than the goal. Systems over goals, July 2020. If I do my system, if I work my system, and the system is good, then I will get to my goal, and I don't need to think too much about the goal. I can think about I need to do the thing I said I would do, which was get up and write for an hour, or go for a walk every day at X o'clock, or whatever. Let's get into your cards. Let's see how Spirit wants to weave in a message to go with your lunar eclipse message. Spirit, loved ones, guides, angels, protectors, those who surround Leo, Leo sun, Leo moon, Leo rising, Leo dominant people. What do they need to know this month? Not peeking. What do they need to know this month for their highest good? In the month of July, Spirit, Leo, Leo, Leo energy, Leo sun, Leo moon, Leo rising. They are throwing cards like crazy and they still want 3 more. We'll see how many we end up with, Leo. Woo! And they just ran into my hand. Okay. Let's see. For Leo in July. Yep, you got a couple of bonus cards, Leo. Spirit's got some extras for you. Loved ones, guides. Those who guide, protect, and lead. Leo. They need to know for their highest good. In the month of July. Woo! Okay. Wow. Bum, ba, bum, 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 bum. Revelation. Lunar eclipse revelations. Hey, how am I living my life? I'm waking up to it. Nice. We like to see it. Wow. Wow. Yeah, a lot of you are going to be, putting a focus on health and recovery and even rest. Some of you might have had some kind of injury where you really kind of have to take a time out. And I would advise you not to rush. Now, you have something really cool, like a gift, an idea, a talent, that you can take very far, that you can profit off of. I mean that literally. Leo, some of you all might have Cancer placements. And if you know that you maybe have a moon or sun or rising Cancer, or like a couple of planets in Cancer, you might want to go and watch that video because I'm getting a little bit of overlap message. Y'all have been through something. I'm going to go right to the sticking point here. You have a lot of beautiful stuff. We're going to talk about it. But I've got to come to the hurt feelings. You know, that Judgment card, that Revelation card. When do we have revelations in life? Rarely do we have revelations in life when everything is just going as perfectly as can be. You know, the United States is having some pretty hardcore revelations. And it's not because these things are suddenly happening. It's because suddenly more and more and more people are waking up to the way that things really are. So I'm bringing that up to say there's a little bit of rhyming energy with you, Leo, where, again, okay, so Spirit is now bringing me back to the fact that this is your house of health in addition to work and routine. They're, again, saying some of you may have had some kind of injury, like, ow, I sprained my ankle, or I threw my back out, like, because I'm doing too much. There is some kind of revelation around where you have been maybe pushing yourself to a breaking point. That's just what I'm hearing. And Leo, these are general readings, so that is going to mean different things for different people. For some of you, it could be you were bending over backward for a relationship or a job that is not giving you in kind. And there may be kind of a revelation that you need a break. Four of Swords is laying on top of that Judgment card. And what Spirit is reminding me of is kind of the law of energy and the fact that it's neither created nor destroyed, only changed. But when we go through a big change, or like when we go through a growth spurt, physical, emotional, psychological, there's a need to rest afterward because we've just used up a lot of energy. Again, whether physically because we grew a couple of inches or healed a bone in our body or whatever, there's some convalescence required. There's some lay back and be quiet and be with yourself energy required here. Three of Swords in your past, Four of Swords squarely in your present, the Tower going on within you. Woof. There's been an awakening. It's kind of like, what it feels like is an external separation. So it could be a breakup, could be getting like fired or losing like a job or something like that. Because there is, with Three of Swords, it's always about separation and the thoughts that trouble us after a separation, even if we know it's the right thing, or even if we think we're okay with it or whatever, you know, there's still some need to recover. The Tower is going on within you, okay? Kind of we think of this position as the hidden factor or the internal, and how that manifests is this. So the Tower inside, the Ace of Wands outside. A shock and a realization that certain things, Spirit is saying like certain coping mechanisms, certain ways of approaching the world no longer serving you. And it's this is how they're putting it to me, is this is kind of that moment where a person who, let's say, drinks a lot, goes to take a drink and is like, this isn't even helping. Like, damn, at least this habit I used to do gave me something, but now it's not even helping me be less sad or whatever, it's making me more sad. And some of you all are hitting that point where it's just like, I have to stop this. I have to stop this habit, whatever it is. What are you doing that might be a little bit self-sabotaging? Because that's what Spirit's bringing up, is a little bit of self-sabotaging energy. And please don't feel guilty or ashamed or weak or whatever, because we all do it, okay? We all do it in varying degrees and ways, and often we do it because we got a message from somebody somewhere, whether it was deep past or whether it was recent. There was a message of maybe like unworthiness. Maybe you felt rejected by someone, Leo, and maybe that hurt your pride or your ego. And I want you to heal from that, not run from that. Because, you know, you're a fun, creative, heartfelt kind of soul, and nobody likes to feel bad, right? But if I think of like maybe a Capricorn going through a tough time, and I think of a Leo going through a tough time, I think they have very different reactions. And I think maybe a Capricorn or whatever might be like, okay, I definitely need some time to like think, I need to come down, I need to rest and figure out what I'm doing. But you might be like, no, like I'm just gonna push on. I'm just gonna grab my gift, my talent, my idea, and I'm gonna fucking go. And you can do that. You can, Leo. But do you know what happens if you race forward and you don't check your blind spot? You might hit something. You might run into something, some obstacle that if you'd been just looking out and just a little bit vigilant, you might have seen it and maybe could avoid it. Your future, the sequence is Knight of Wands, the Devil, Nine of Pentacles. I think that you have a great idea, and I think it has a ton of potential. You have the Ace of Wands crowning your reading. You have the Ace of Swords in the position of where you find yourself. Breakthrough. Feeling the need for a clean slate. Saying, you know what, maybe the tower did fall and I need to just let that go and start something new. Now that said, I think that's a fabulous idea, but don't build on the fucking like rubble of your tower. Does that make sense? Don't be like trying to put some bubble gum and fucking like make that shit just go back to the way it was. Because I feel like some of you may run right back to the person that rejected you or the job that isn't good for you or whatever, because there's kind of a if you've ever heard people talk about kind of like the spiritual growth process and how it's not linear. It's not like, oh, I'm getting more and more and more and more like spiritual or intuitive. It's kind of a spiral. So we can like learn a lesson, and then very often life will present us with the same thing again and be like, really though? Are you really done? Did you really learn this lesson? Let's just make sure. Let's just give you a quick master's class and see if you run right back to the devil. Run right back to your blind spot or your comfort zone, which is the discomfort zone, right? If we give you that opportunity, will you run back? Or will you run, and when we present you with this, will you say, you know what? I'm good. I'm good just as I am, just like this, exactly where I am, exactly who I am. Nine of Pentacles is the justifiably proud, independent, successfully self-employed person. It's the only card like that in the deck. So for those of you that might own a business or do a side hustle or like just do your own thing, independent agent, freelancer, something like that, this is fantastic for seeing you standing proudly on your own. This is also a wonderful card if you have been through some kind of breakup, some kind of isolating incident. This is a card of, I've gone from feeling lonely to feeling like I am good on my own. And like, not just I'm good, but like I'm proud of myself. Like, this is the card of being able to look around at what you've created and what you've been able to do and just be like, you know what? Good job, me. Like, nice work. Really appreciate everything that we put into this. And getting to enjoy. the fruits of your labor. That's the other thing, is Nine of Pentacles is independent, has plenty, and they did it themselves. This is also the single and happy card. So, been through a breakup or you've been through some kind of shakeup, no rhyme intended, you're going to be feeling very much on your feet, as long as when you come face to face with the devil, which the devil in tarot is not evil, it's not Satan, it's actually not, it's more like addictions and attachments and things that we know, if I dance with the damn devil again, I'm gonna get a taste of hell. Let me just say it how Spirit's saying it, okay? And they don't judge you. If you decide to dance with the devil, here's the thing. In some ways, Spirit is like, there are no wrong choices, because in the wrong choice is wrapped up the right lesson. I.e., if I look at this person, let's just say, like a person I used to date, and they were really bad for me, with bad time, bad, toxic, but they come back into my life. Here's the thing about the devil is tempting as fuck. That's why it's things we're addicted to, things we get obsessed with. So that can be drugs, that can be sex, that can be emotional or physical addictions, anything like that, anything that kind of takes us out of ourselves and makes us feel low. So, for example, I'm presented with this sexy toxic ex who comes back into my life, and they're saying all the seductive, attractive things, and like, oh, I've changed, or blah, 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 blah. If I look at them and I'm like, no, we tried this before, you haven't changed, and I don't make that decision, well, then I didn't need the lesson wrapped up in that decision. But if I look at them and I'm like, damn, this is tempting, maybe they've changed, maybe they really have, and I go for it, and I get, whacked upside the head, emotionally speaking, then I needed that lesson, or I wouldn't have fucking gone for it, right? So don't blame yourself. And Spirit just said, if you've been here for a while, Leo, you might know that I have like a Dr. Seussian type guide that is always giving me like rhymes. Don't blame yourself and don't game yourself. Don't do the thing where you play yourself because you think like, oh, okay, like I'm not going to dance with the devil, but maybe I'll like walk around the block with him and just see what he has to say. Nope. I mean, do it if you want to. Again, the lesson is contained therein. But if you don't want to learn the damn lesson again, walk away. I do feel like they're connecting the devil to the Knight of Swords. So for some of you, this is very literally a person who's going to come back into your life. And this person feels, they might, the Spirit's saying Gemini, but these are general readings. So for some of you, this person may be Gemini. For others of you, they could be telling me Gemini, because it's that kind of energy. The Knight of Swords is the Knight of Air. And Knights are about swiftness and transition and communication. And so I feel kind of like some of you may have a Gemini or a Gemini-ish message from somebody that's just kind of like, oh, hey, I left, but I'm back. Or, oh, like, how are you doing? After like they said or did something extremely shitty and they act like nothing happened, and you're kind of like, that's devil shit. That's like, this is fucking with my head. Like, the last time we talked, weren't you kind of an asshole? And now you're talking like nothing happened? Like, that's that weird fucking shadow shit, okay? Don't let anybody disturb your peace. That's what I'm hearing. We have the Four of Swords, we have the Nine of Pentacles, and then also in the potential position, we have the High Priestess. When I say don't let anybody fuck with your peace, I don't mean like don't let anybody in your life, they'll fuck with your peace. Like, let people in your life if you're like, yes, I want you in my life. What I mean is, if you let the Knight of Swords in, let's say, You know, they show up in your phone or at your door or whatever, and you're like, you know what, sure, let's engage in conversation. If you decide to do that, I would love for you to only do it when you feel so firm and confident in who you are, what you're worth, what you want, that you cannot be swayed into lying to yourself. That's just how Spirit put it, like into lying to yourself that you're fine with whatever, the way this person acts, or dealing with having this kind of job that doesn't really work for you, or whatever. Just know yourself extremely well, so well that there are no blind spots, you know? Like, and I know that's a tough ask because we're doing shadow work our whole lives, right? But the thing is, just like in a car, if I know I have a blind spot, then I'll check it. If I think I don't have any blind spots and I think I know everything, then I'm probably not going to bother to check. And if I don't do that, I might find myself chained to something that I don't want to be chained to. Attracted and kind of submitted to something I don't want to submit to. And Leo, you're not the submissive type, you know. You have gifts and ideas. And there is huge potential to end up at the end of July in a position of like, damn, look what I did. Because again, this is sitting in your future. So look what I've accomplished. Look what I have managed to stack up for myself by the end of July. And it's a point of pride. And I feel like you know yourself better by the end of July. And that, my friend, is going to change your life. You have the Tower as what's going on inside you, so you yourself are already changing, and parts of you that are not true anymore are falling away. You are evolving. You are molting. That can be uncomfortable. Shedding a skin like a snake, it's like a bit of an ugly process, but you come out smooth and beautiful and new. Tower inside of you, it's equal and opposite the Wheel of Fortune as the conclusion and key to your reading. The wheel is turning. Your life is changing. Your luck is changing. The Wheel of Fortune brings with it ups and downs, right? Because change is scary. So it can be exhilarating. It can also be alarming. It can be like full of joy and then full of like, oh God, what's going to happen? And then, oh my God, this is what's going to, and then, okay. So as humans, even when change is good, we fear change. But if I told you that this was carrying you to a place where you're going to be able to face your fears courageously and come out on the other side of it feeling more whole and more sure and more proud of who you are and what you've accomplished, like, damn, every up and down will be more than worth it. Be very clear, first with yourself, and then with everybody else around you, what your boundaries are, what your needs are. And please, for the love of everything, make time for rest and recovery. Okay? Make time to integrate everything that you've learned. You know, like Spirit is reminding me, maybe some of you do yoga, or maybe they're just using this because it's a very useful metaphor. But at the end of a yoga class, if it's a good yoga class, they will have you lay down for at least, 5 minutes or whatever. And the sort of philosophy in yoga is if you don't do your little lie down at the end of, you could have been doing the last 20 or 60 or 90 minutes of like the craziest, most intense, most educational yoga you've ever done in your life. But if all you do is that, and then you don't take the time to rest, recover, and also the idea is to let it sink into your body, let your body really absorb everything that you've just done and learned, then it can sort of scatter the energy, right? You kind of just like throw away everything that you've just built up and learned. So make sure that in all of the action and excitement and movement that you're doing, that you make time for meditation, journaling, naps, anything where it's kind of like, where you can do that big emotional, physical, spiritual exhale. And I also just want to tag on here when it comes to those of you who might be feeling like it's time for a new fitness regimen. I would just say be extra careful and do make sure that you get that recovery time. Don't like, oh my God, I have to lose, 50 pounds or whatever, so I'm going to run 3 miles every day when when I haven't run in months, and then injure yourself and then be off your ass for like 6 months, Like, slow and steady and time for recovery, okay? It's going to be good. I'm pretty fucking excited for you. I'm very curious, Leo, if you know what any of this is. Has any of this already occurred? Do any of you have like an idea of who this person or this thing might be that's going to come and try to kind of like steal your peace? And Spirit's asking you to kind of embrace and understand yourself. Let me know. Very curious. If you have comments, questions, if you have advice for your fellow Leos, that is always welcome as well. Thank you for being here, Leo. I really appreciate the time you spend with me, and I truly hope that it pays for itself exponentially, and that this reading gives you more than what you even came in wanting. Much love to you, Leo. Blessings to you and yours. And if I don't see you before then I hope I see you in August. Bye, Leo.